we've had some members that historically have come in injured, and I remember thinking, oh, I can't do that. And I get tension headaches, and I have found CrossFit exercise has been the best way to alleviate those.
All right, hey everybody, welcome back to KCF Conversations. Today I am joined by Cassandra. Thanks for joining us, Cassandra.
Thank you, Dan.
Absolutely. Cassandra, I want to talk a little bit about your recent history, but before we get into that, just tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, what do you do for work? Where are you from?
I'm a systems analyst at Providence, and I'm from around here.
Oh,
so
did you grow up here in
Kitsap
County?
I grew up on Bay Bridge Island, actually.
Nice.
I'm one of those people.
I'm old Bay Bridge, right? One of those?
Right.
Got it, okay, yeah.
And actually, around here I play a trombone, so I play in a couple groups,
right.
And then I'm a crazy parrot lady. And then I do everything from crocheting to reading, and then recently I started doing pet portraits, so that's really been taking off. So it's something that when I retire I'll be doing more of. So
that was really cool. I saw that you had posted a couple things about pet portraits, and then I saw something you had posted, and I was like, oh, holy moly! Like, wow, really impressive pet portraits. You. Yeah, really
Thank
cool.
You.
Yeah. Okay, so how long have you been here with us at Kitsap CrossFit?
I'm going to say it's about 3 years, but make that 2 because
yes,
during the time you were closed
year.
for COVID,
Yes.
unlike a lot of folks, I didn't borrow stuff. I didn't come in.
Yeah.
I did stuff at home, but I wasn't as disciplined. And then coming back, it's like for some reason something changed in me, and I was a whole lot more comfortable.
Okay,
awesome. When I first came in, I'd never even been in a gym. I was very, very self-conscious. So.
Well, I do recall when you first started.
Oh, gosh.
I didn't realize it was 3 years ago, but I do recall when you first started.
Yeah.
And
2.5.
it's funny because I hate to dwell on this, but like the whole pandemic year and a half or whatever, it's like it feels like forever, but it almost feels like that time didn't exist. And so when you say 3 years ago, I have to consider that that's part of it too, and that it's weird. But at any rate, I do remember when you first started, and I do recall that seeing that, that sense of like, I don't know if I should be doing this, and that sense of like not having confidence in what you're doing. And I remember a lot of I felt like my job and the other coaches were like just trying to let you know, like, Cassandra, you actually do this stuff okay. Like you're better at this than you give yourself credit for.
I was very self-conscious, and I could still be, and I think that's something that for anyone coming in here, let go of that, and it takes time, but I really have found that people have been only supportive, made a lot of friends, and so it's been actually, I feel now the community, whereas when I started out, I didn't really know anybody, and I could get a little stiff and not smile, when I'm uncomfortable or talk too much. But it's been really great and something I've enjoyed, and stress relief after work, so I usually have to do evenings, and I have a couple people, they're like, hey, are you going to go to class? Yeah, so we try to sign up together.
Yeah, it's been awesome seeing you. You've definitely been more regular now since, this summer and such than previously, so it's been awesome seeing you in here a little bit more regularly. So prior to CrossFit, what did you do with regard to fitness?
I did mostly running.
Okay.
I've done some yoga classes. My husband and bicycling. I commuted for 10 years on a bicycle.
Oh, okay.
Which I don't know how I managed in Seattle. I remember stressed out, and then after a couple of years of riding there, I would be the aggressive rider. That would be like, get out of the way, and the cobblestone streets. Did that, and then I started working at home a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And so I had to do something, so I did more running, so I haven't really been doing a lot of bicycling.
Got it. Okay. All right. Now, speaking of running, the particular reason that I wanted to chat with you today is because you recently sustained an injury. My understanding was it a running injury?
I actually was running because I was training for the Paulsville Half Marathon, which I won't be doing. I transferred that to someone else. No, I was actually running, and I'd gotten, I think, 6 or 7 miles, and I was at the waterfront, and I actually walked like 20 feet, and I'm looking at kayakers, and I'm going, oh, I should get the kayak out, and then I rolled my ankle because the pavement dropped. Okay. So it turned out to be a fairly, it was I don't know, level 2 sprain.
Yep, okay.
So I called my husband and said, I think you need to come get me.
Yeah.
The Kaiser has been great, and then and I didn't break anything. I didn't need surgery, so it was relatively mild, in that regard. But I was on crutches, And we've had some members that historically have come in injured, and I remember thinking, oh, I can't do that, you know. And I get tension headaches, and I have found CrossFit exercise has been the best way to alleviate those. And so I also decided I was going to try to come in. So the coaches have been awesome in helping scale things. The other recipe for that, I feel, is having the confidence to set the boundaries. So I have to take what my physical therapist has said, and I've had to say, you know, like with Sean, Sean was great tonight, but I had to say, no, I can't do that.
Yep.
And so
Absolutely.
the responsibility, kind of falls on me to
Yeah,
set those boundaries.
I mean, I always feel like, I always tell people like, hey, we can work with you. I need you to be an advocate for yourself.
Exactly.
And I need you
Yes.
to be able to communicate with us because if, I mean, we have a fair number of people here and we always try to keep it in the front of our mind, like what's going on with each person. But, we do kind of forget like, oh yeah, I forgot that that's going on. And sometimes people will be a little bit sheepish and they won't say anything. And then afterwards, we don't find out till afterwards that what we were having them do was aggravating things. And so keeping those lines of communication open is really, really essential when we're trying to ensure that someone's able to maintain their fitness without aggravating whatever is bothering them.
And not to feel embarrassed about that. And I think that ties back to the lack of confidence, especially when I started. I know I was, I seemed to always have some minor thing at some various times because I started with a shoulder injury. I'd been sent to you by one of your, Rebecca, a friend, she's sent me to you because of your past physical therapy experience. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. So you've been able to continue to come in. Where are you at as far as the recovery process with your ankle?
I'm about halfway through.
Okay.
I'm not on crutches anymore, and I've actually been doing some walking, and it's easier to like walk and not stand, that kind of thing. But really, it's healing nicely.
Good.
And so I should be able to start doing more.
Okay.
And I was told not to, really lift or do any running till the end of October. I think that's gonna be tough, but I'll have to try.
There might be some ways that we can modify some things too, and do some things. So speaking of modifications, you posted on our private page on Facebook a couple times, giving shout outs to the coaches for working with you and being creative. What are some of the more creative things that the coaches have done to modify workouts for you?
The other night, I let Janae know in advance that I was coming and said, hey, I need you to get creative. So she actually pulled out a square skateboard, I'm not sure what it was, and did the rowing and had my foot on the skateboard. And that was awesome. And then prior to that, I'd come in, Rochelle was the coach, and I hadn't actually alerted her in advance. So she put me on the bike. Janae put me on the skier with a box to sit on.
Absolutely.
That worked. And then, why am I going to figure out what they're called? But the single arm dumbbell.
The dumbbell rows, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, dumbbell rows, just using the same knee. That kind of thing works. So anything that's really using your upper body and not using the limb is fine. And also being at a point that you don't have to have it for someone's common sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's kind of funny because it's easy to sort of get paralyzed by like the thinking of, oh, I can't do anything. Like I need to be able to get around the gym, and that's going to put pressure on my ankle, and I can't do that. And so then we just sort of get locked into like I can't do anything. Yep. And I think once you sort of start to break through a couple of the barriers, then then the whole world opens up, and you're like, wait a second, I could do that. I wonder if I could do that. Could I try that? And I feel pretty confident that our coaches will say, well, let's try. Let's figure out a way to make it work. And if it doesn't, okay, but we can at least give it a shot.
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely.
Cool.
You guys have been awesome, and the coaches have been too.
Oh, I'm very happy to hear that. So I'm a firm believer that maintaining your fitness, doing everything you can as vigorously as you can without aggravating your injury is really, really important in the healing process. Like I think it's important for what's happening with your ankle, just getting the heart rate up, getting blood flow, and all of that hormonally, all of that kind of stuff is really, really important. Obviously, emotionally, I think it's really, really important. So, how do you feel as far as your ability to maintain your level of fitness and things like that while dealing with this?
Actually not too bad. I'm guilty of not coming in as frequently,
Yeah.
and I'm definitely wanting to do more. I am frustrated not being able to run because that's something I love doing.
Right.
But, I have to step back and go, okay, this is just something small, in the scheme of things, and I'm actually pretty fortunate because I can come in here, I can do things, and again, it's changing that I can't to I can.
Right. Yeah. I always tell people, like, focus on what we can do. There's going to be a whole host of things you can't do. And there's nothing we can do about that right now.
No.
Like, I can't change that. But we can focus on what you can do and see the positive in that. I've been dealing with a shoulder issue for the last couple of years, and
ouch.
some of my favorite movements I can't do. And if I dwelled on that, it would be very frustrating. And I'll be honest, there's days I don't come in because the movements are so shoulder heavy that I wouldn't be able to do them, and I'm
Right.
like, I think I'll just go for a run, right? But
Or it's nice and sunny out too.
but the beauty is we have the option, right? If your only thing was running and you rolled your ankle,
That
what would you be doing?
I would not be doing anything.
Right.
Right.
And so now you have all these options available to you. And so I just think it's so important that people try to, again, look at what they can do and figure out a way to make that happen.
Absolutely, the
And-
mindset.
Yeah.
Just like having the mind is how to break through what weights or and that's something actually I'm working with Mandy on right now. I'd signed up for some
Right,
of the
that's
Olympic
right,
lifting,
yes.
which I'm really excited to get back into. I had one session with her when it
yeah.
happened. I've had to actually schedule them out, so I'm really, really excited to get back to that.
Awesome.
And that makes it all the more important to stay up on the fitness and
Yep.
make that continuity happen.
Absolutely. And there's no indication, there's no reason that you shouldn't be able to do that. It'll take a little bit of time, a few more weeks perhaps. But I think, staying in that right mindset and staying in that right, mode of just getting in here and doing what you can is going to be critical. So
Yeah.
you sort of already have said it, but there are a lot of folks, there's folks that end up in a similar situation with you as you, who are members of the gym, who
Right.
they have that injury, and the first thing we get is like, hey, I need to pause my membership because I can't come to the gym right now because I've hurt whatever it is, knee or shoulder or whatever. And then there's people that are not members of the gym who are like, man, I really want to do that, but my knee or my shoulder or my
Right.
finger or whatever it is, right? What would you say to those folks?
I would say, listen to your doctor and get the guidance from your physical therapist and have them tell you what you can do and start there. But that basically leaves you a lot of options. And the other thing is don't be embarrassed to set parameters and say, this is the boundary that I can't do. Like tonight I asked to sit because I really, couldn't stand past a certain point, and that's okay. And so me being the advocate, like you said, so between the I can, sticking within the framework that I've been given from my doctors and physical therapist, and then what you guys can add to that as far as creativity, it's a win-win.
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah.
That's awesome. Well, it's been, like I said, it's been fantastic just to see how regular you have been over the last several months. And then it was such a bummer when I heard that you had injured yourself, but it's been kind of cool to see you continue to come back in, right? Again, I wish you weren't in this situation and not injured, but it has been cool to see you sort of fight through that. And, it's kind of one of those things I think that you'll look back on and go, there were definitely some positives that came out of that, right?
I think so. Again, the mindset and just seeing what can be done. Because, the first week I was pretty bummed, and I had to take that I can't to I can. And that was me being, feeling sorry for myself and a little upset because it was simple. I wasn't looking where I was going, and things happen, but still.
Yeah. And that's so natural. Like, we all go through that. Yeah. Well, cool. Well, I really appreciate you sharing your story with us, Cassandra.
Thank you for having me, Dan.
Absolutely. And we look forward to seeing you continuing in the gym. I look forward to seeing you pick up with those Olympic lifting sessions with Mandy and just keep getting after it.
Great. Thank
All
you
right.
so much for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Be sure
Bye.
to like and subscribe these videos so that you get all the updates. And, of course, share them with anyone you think might find value in them. Thanks.
Thank you.